खानदानी लुटेरों की कोशिश होगी बेकार। फिर एक बार मोदी सरकार।
PM Benjamin Netanyahu, while outrightly refusing to bow down to the US warning of withholding arms if Jerusalem continues with the Rafah invasion, stated on Thursday that the US threat would not prevent Israel from going ahead with its offensive in Gaza. Going against the wishes of its strongest ally, the US, PM Netanyahu stated that if needed, Israel would stand alone and fight with fingernails. Meanwhile, drawing a comparison between Joe Biden and pro-Hamas protesters who demonstrated in large numbers across the US campuses, Trump accused the US president of supporting the terrorist group Hamas.
I say to the leaders of the world, no amount of pressure, no decision by any international forum will stop Israel from defending itself. As the Prime Minister of Israel, the one and only Jewish state, I pledge here today from Jerusalem on this Holocaust Remembrance Day, if Israel is forced to stand alone, Israel will stand alone. But we know we're not alone because countless decent people around the world support our just cause. And I say to you, we will defeat.
Israeli PM's fear statement came in response to US President Joe Biden's stern warning to Netanyahu, urging him to not go ahead with the Rafah invasion over fears that it would exacerbate humanitarian catastrophe for Palestinians taking shelter in the southern Gaza city. In what is being called his most forthright warning to date, Biden had maintained that the US would not provide offensive weapons to Jerusalem for a Rafah offensive, raising pressure on Netanyahu.
I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities, to deal with that problem. We're going to continue to make sure Israel is secure in terms of Iron Dome and their ability to respond to attacks like came out of the Middle East recently. But it's just wrong. We're not going to supply the weapons and the artillery shells used that have been used.
Artillery shells as well.
Yeah, artillery shells.
However, even the Israeli military was undeterred, with the top military spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, downplaying the practical impact of any arms holdup. Taking a jibe at the US, the military spokesman stated that the Israeli army has enough munitions for the missions, including the Rafah operation. Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, in a post on X, illustrated that Biden's statement reveals his growing cooperation with the Hamas terrorist group. Pertinently, Israel is hell-bent on continuing with its invasion of Rafah, where nearly 1.3 million Palestinians have sought refuge. Furthermore, the city is also the main hub for humanitarian operations, which have been hindered due to the closure of two main crossings. However, Israel maintains that the southern Gaza city is the last stronghold of Hamas, and in order to completely dismantle the terrorist group, the army must go in with the hopes of getting scores of hostages captured in October 7 attack back home. Meanwhile, after Joe Biden's warning to Israel to halt US military supply to Israel, Republican candidate Donald Trump accused the US president of supporting the terrorist group Hamas, referring to his actions as disgraceful. Drawing a comparison between Joe Biden and pro-Hamas protesters who demonstrated in large numbers across the US campuses, Trump termed Biden as crooked, who is taking the side of these terrorists. He's totally abandoned Israel and nobody can believe it, said the Republican presidential nominee who will be challenging Biden in the November election this year.
What Biden is doing with respect to Israel is disgraceful. If any Jewish person voted for Joe Biden, they should be ashamed of themselves. He's totally abandoned Israel, and nobody can